This tutorial is going to be recorded in two segments. The first segment, I'm going to show the difference between, or at least my perceived differences, between the Red Heart Boutique Sashay yarn, and this is in color Boogie, and the Red Heart Ribbons, Red Heart Boutique Ribbons yarn, and this color is City. I'm recording this way for the first time, so you all just got to give me feedback on that as well. So here we go. I'm doing this recording first because I was asked this question several times on Facebook. And so what I'm going to do is kind of just give you some of my differences and why I choose to use one over the other. So here we go. First of all, for the sachet yarn, you will immediately notice there's a difference in textures between the two. The sachet, in my opinion, appears to be a tad bit, oh, excuse me, I'm just in the camera unintentionally, to be maybe more like it doesn't have like a shine or sheen the way that you see in the ribbons yarn. I would say more like a matte or something that's dull, and I know matte is usually used when people are talking about makeup, but I really can't tell you other than that. It does have little speckles of silver in it. Do you see that? Which is why this makes for a really fantastic scarf as well as a great holiday piece. So you see it here. Another difference when you look at the ribbons yarn is that it does have that shininess to it, and it also has bits of silver in it. I'm going to see if I can. So you see those little sparkles, and I wish this would zoom a little, but yeah, see the little speckles, which is great. And so another thing that I compare the sachet yarn to is like if you're using cotton yarn. The difference is that you would see between the cotton versus an acrylic. Usually it's a difference as far as the texture, because of the different materials used, but it's also a difference in appearance as to it having more of a sheen or softness to it. And so that's the difference when you look at them in the packaging. So I'm going to go ahead and crack them open. Okay, I'm going to do it on camera. Yeah. I'm trying my best now to save these little things so I'll know the colors, because people ask and I just grab and go. So let's begin here. And again, this is the sachet. It comes in this, look, it looks like this. Now, in my opinion, the sachet yarn, which is this yarn, this dull yarn, is wrapped way better than the ribbons yarn, and I'll show you why in a little bit. So see this? I'm going to zoom in. So it comes kind of clustered. See this? And what you have to do, again, let me see. I don't know why this is not focusing the way I want it to, but there we go. Is you have to pull it apart. And voila. So it's like a fishnet. And your sparkle should run across your bottom. See that? And you work through the top loops here. Okay? So when most people, well, I can speak for myself, and you open it and you get it and you have no idea what to do with it. This is why. You go from this. Yeah, that's better. Maybe I'm too close to the camera. There. You go from this to this. See how nice that is. And you go through and you pull it open. And it gives you this. Really beautiful. And this is one of those yarns where it looks like you've done a lot and you haven't, because the yarn does most of the work. Once you get going, the yarn does most of the work for your projects on this, and it makes it an absolutely beautiful piece. So I'm going to hold it up once again. I'll turn it sideways because I'm hanging over the camera, so this will make it a little easier. And here's, you know, where you had the sparkle. This is just the color, and this is variegated, so it goes from light to dark, and then it repeats. Okay, so this is the, there we go, the sachet. Okay, now I'm going to open up the ribbons. And in another video, I'm going to show you all how I open up the ribbons so that it will stay organized, and also how that all that extra string in there can assist you with closing off your piece. Okay, so here's the boutique ribbons. Again, this is in City. And let's go ahead and crack this baby open as well. I found that I like the ribbons better, but because I just like the way it falls when it's in a piece. But yeah, so here we go. So here is the ribbons yarn. Now I believe if you're doing your first piece that the ribbons yarn is so much better to do it with. Just because I'll show you. Now as you see, I am gently unfolding this, and I'll show you later why. But for now, I'm going to see if I can just zoom in without fully opening this package for the next, and more of a demonstration, I guess, than a tutorial. The ribbons yarn comes as is, but look at the difference here. Do you see that? Across the top here, it has the openings so that the metallic sparkles or silver sparkles that go throughout the ribbon is embedded inside this main strip, and you can work and use this top area to work in. Do you see that? So when you're using, whether you're using your crochet hook or your knitting needles, you work through this space. So you don't have to stretch it out as compared to the sachet. With the sachet, people vary on how they work. I'm opening this up. They either work in this second area here. Let me use my needle to point a little bit. Here, let's see. They either use, let's see if I can lay it on the table. And you can actually see it. There we go. I'm going to see if I can zoom in without it getting too blurry. You're hearing all of my directorial notes while I'm doing it. Here we go. So the top is here. As you see, the reason why I keep adjusting and fiddling with it is because it comes bunched. So the material is at all times trying to go back to its original state. And we are saying no. Okay, so here's the top row. Most people work down here in this hole, which would be, I guess, technically the second row. If you want something a tad bit sturdier, you work in the third row. Okay, you see that? So your needle or hook, if you were working in that second row, you'd work in here. If you're working in the third, you'd work in here. So it'll look like that. This is a knitting needle, and I'll have a crochet hook in the next one as well. Okay, so I'm going to take it back again. So here are again the differences. This yarn is the one that I would recommend if it's your first time doing one of these scarves, because once you get through making one, I believe you'll have the hang of it enough so that even fiddling with this material and finding where you need to work, or finding your stitches, or even controlling the fact that it rolls up on itself will not be that big of a deal. You'll have the hang of it usually by the time you get to the end of your first one. The other thing that I found about these two, which is a downside in my opinion of using this ribbons yarn, is that this little thing is so fine. I'm going to come in a little bit. So when I was knitting it for the first time, it was easy I was using the aluminum hooks and they would slide right off the hook and I would start over again. And so this little thin strip is what you're working with. It's sturdy, but it's thin. And so you want to be able to see what you're doing and not lose your stitches. And so I'm going to show you that in the actual tutorial. So I'm going to actually call this more of a demonstration. But it's just to show you the differences and doing a comparison again between the Red Hearts Boutique ribbons and the Red Heart Boutique Sashay. I suggest you go grab you a couple of skeins and just have a good time with it. They make awesome gifts. And I'm going to show you how you can organize and open up your sachet ribbons in the next installment. But I hope this was helpful and that this answers the questions that people had that they were asking me on Facebook when they saw the pictures of my scarves. So stay tuned for the next demonstration before I post the tutorial on how to do a scarf with both the sachet as well as the ribbons yarn. Or yes, is that technically? Yes, it's yarn. We're going to call it yarn. Okay, see you on the next video.